So, fellas, last night I watched the Toxic Avenger, and I will admit, me and my mate got absolutely drunk for this film because we thought it would make it funnier, and it did. I've never actually seen the original. I know about it and like the series, and I know about Trauma Entertainment and like the stuff they do, but I've never seen any of their films. So this was my first like trauma experience. I knew what to expect, which is why I decided to get drunk because I just thought, this is going to be a lot of fun. And I actually had a really good time with the film. It was simple, violent, trashy fun, but sometimes that's all you want in a film. You don't always want to be watching a deep and meaningful film. Sometimes you just want something that's violent and gory, and this definitely delivered on that. I was actually surprised that the cinema I went to was showing it because I watched it at Cineworld, which is a chain cinema in the UK. So normally they're just showing all the mainstream films, and you do get a few indie films, but you don't really get B movies like this. So I do have to thank Cineverse for that because they've been a big help in distributing this film. The same with Terrifier 3. And they're also going to distribute the new Silent Night, Deadly Night film. So it seems Cineverse are doing a really good job at getting these B movies to mainstream cinemas, which I'm really happy about because these are the type of films I like to watch. And getting to experience them on the big screen is just a treat. So, as for the film itself, the plot follows Winston, who is played by Peter Dinklage, and he's a stepfather to his kid, Wade, I believe he was called. And he doesn't have the best relationship with him as Wade's mother died, so he was left with his stepfather, Winston. Anyway, Winston finds out that he is dying, and his work insurance won't cover it because he works for this, like, obviously shady company who are, like, distributing, like, toxic stuff around the city. So he goes to the head of the company, played by Kevin Bacon, who's the main villain of the film, along with Elijah Wood, who plays his brother. But Winston goes to him, and Kevin Bacon's not going to pay for his insurance because obviously he's the villain. And then Winston decides to break into the company and steal some money, which results in him getting killed by these like rock gang people, and he gets thrown into toxic waste and becomes a Toxic Avenger. He then seeks revenge and to save his son, who is kidnapped by the villain of the film. And I would say there is more to the plot, but there's not really. It's a very simple premise. I mean, you're going to watch The Toxic Avenger, you know you're not in for some masterfully written plot. You're there to watch some slapstick gore, and that's what the film delivers on really well. There's moments where Toxie will hit people in the head or like in the jaw with his broomstick that's got toxic stuff on it, and their jaw will just completely come off, or the top of their head will come off, and you can see all the brain inside. And there's even one part in this like diner where he reaches up a guy's bum and just pulls his guts out through the guy's ass, and it's so funny and gory. It actually made everyone in the cinema burst out laughing, which was nice. I will say though that considering it has unrated in the title, it was pretty tame. Like it's still gory, but when you put unrated in the title and it's an 18, you're thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna see some extreme stuff here. But it was kind of tame on the violence, in my opinion. I thought there could have been a bit more, but I still enjoyed what we got. There's also loads of just like stupid moments of comedy, like the places they will be living at will be called Depressingville, or the place Winston works at as a janitor will be like the Fartplex, and like these little things just made me laugh. I think it's because I'm used to seeing B movies like this on like Amazon Prime because they will have anything. But being able to see these really dumb jokes and slapstick violence on the big screen just made it a lot more entertaining. I was also surprised at how well the film was made. Obviously, it's not master crafted, but I thought the sets, the costumes, and the cinematography were actually really good for a B movie. It's like a B movie with a budget, and you can tell it has a skilled filmmaker behind it. I thought the design of the Toxic Avenger himself was good as well, and I like the practical suit that they made. It's made to look gross enough so he is this like creature, but not overly gross and overly monstrous to make him look like a villain. So you can root for him. You also see his little toxic penis as well, which was pretty funny. There's a moment where he's like locked up in chains, and it's established earlier on that his piss can like melt things. So he takes his trousers off, like bends over and like pisses on himself to melt the chains, and it just made everyone laugh. It's not something you get in like mainstream cinema. It's something you can only get with B movies. So again, actually being able to watch it on a cinema screen just made it so much funnier. There's also a part at the like rock concert where these two women show their boobs, and then it shows a man getting his like dick out and just swinging it around, and that also made me and my friend just burst out laughing. It's very immature and dumb jokes like that. Like the film's full of those, but I can't lie, dumb shit like that always makes me laugh, especially when I'm really drunk. There were two people who walked out of the film, and I even said to my friend beforehand, I said, I bet you there's going to be walkouts during this. So when it happened, we just turned to each other and smiled. But I was surprised that more people actually stayed for the film and seemed to be enjoying it. There was a guy in front of us who was non-stop laughing throughout the whole film. He was so invested in it and he was just loving it, which was great to see. I do wonder how many people went to watch the film thinking it was the next Marvel project. Even with my friend, when I told him that we was going to watch a film called The Toxic Avenger, he thought it was Marvel related until he googled it and found out it wasn't. But it does make me wonder how many people went to watch it thinking it was Marvel. I think it is kind of the perfect time to release this film though, because with all the superhero films that get released, it's nice to have a violent B-movie version of one. It's just nice to have something different in the cinema for a change. The film also flies by. It honestly felt like I was only in the cinema for half an hour, but it's like 1 hour 40 or something. But yeah, the film flies by. It's a bit slower at the start when it's setting all the story beats up, but once he becomes a Toxic Avenger, it just flies to the end because it's just pretty much violence from then on. There was this funny moment that I've only just like thought of again, but there's this bad guy who's part of the like villainous rocker group, and he's always doing like flips. And then in one part, Toxie's fighting that group, and he does a flip. Toxie gets out of the way and he carries on flipping and goes, "Oh no!" and just explodes randomly. Like there was no reason for him to explode; he just did. But it was really funny. I did enjoy the performances too. Obviously, they're not going for the Oscar; they're just all perfectly camp enough for the film, which is probably why they got actors like Kevin Bacon and Elijah Wood to be in it, because they know how to do that camp factor really well. But yeah, I really enjoyed this film. It was a fun time. I'll definitely watch a sequel if they make another one, which I really hope they do, because it was just so entertaining. And I think I will go back and watch the original films from the 80s and probably watch some more trauma things because I did enjoy this. And I do hope that Cineverse are able to put more B movies into mainstream cinemas because it's just nice to have that variety in cinema. And so far, they are proving to be successful. I think this has grossed like 2.2 million this weekend, but with like Terrifier 3 grossed like 80 million. So there is a market for these trashy, violent films. But yeah, that's what I thought about the film. I would definitely recommend it. And if you have seen it, let me know what you thought about it in the comments. And if there's any more of these like trauma or trauma inspired films that you've watched that I think I should watch, please recommend them to me in the comments. As usual, thanks for watching, fellas.